Welcome to the Fasting Podcast, Wow, Wellness and Optimal Weight. I'm your host, Julie Phillips, certified natural health professional. This is episode 77, Glycogen Affects Fasting. What is glycogen? Well, in biochemistry terms, glycogen is a substance deposited in bodily tissues as a store of carbohydrates. It's a polysaccharide which forms glucose or sugar on hydrolysis. A core protein of glycogen is surrounded by branches of glucose units. And if you're watching the YouTube, you can see a picture of what it looks like. Glycogen is a short-term energy source as opposed to fat, which is a longer-term energy source. Glycogen is made and stored primarily in the cells of the liver and also in the skeletal muscle. In the liver, glycogen can comprise 5 to 6% of the liver's weight, but in skeletal muscle, glycogen is only 1 to 2% of the muscle mass. Small amounts of glycogen are also stored in the kidneys, red blood cells, white blood cells, glial cells in the brain, and uterus in pregnancy. Total glycogen stores can approximate 1,700 calories. So let's talk about what happens. About 4 grams of glucose is present in the human blood at all times. In fasted people, blood glucose is maintained constant at this level at the expense of glycogen stores in the liver and skeletal muscle. Glycogen in the muscle serves the muscle itself. Glycogen in the liver is used throughout the whole body, including the nervous system. The human brain consumes about 60% of the blood glucose in fasted, sedentary individuals. Glycogen forms an energy reserve that can be mobilized quickly to meet a sudden need for glucose. I think of it as sprinting across the parking lot when you need that instant, quick energy. And if needed, the body can actually make glucose from protein or fat. Now, when it makes it from protein, which we don't want it to be using up a lot of our muscle, the process called gluconeogenesis can take the amino acids from something like our muscles and convert that into glucose or sugar if it needs it. Excess carbs that can't fit into glycogen stores can actually store as fat. Now remember, this glycogen stuff is all about excess carbohydrates, meaning the net carbohydrates where you take the total carbs, you subtract fiber, and there's a couple of other things that don't count, like, for example, the erythritol plant is a natural sugar alcohol, so that doesn't count, as does the fiber not count. Glycogen storing in the muscles and liver is kind of like a checking account. So when we fast, the body burns what we ate or drank after it's digested using protein to secure muscle mass, for example. When we stop eating for a period, either intermittent fasting or an extended water fast, the body will use up the consumed food after it's digested, and if an extreme amount of quick energy is needed beyond the food supply, it can reach into the glycogen stores for that quick energy. In other words, sprinting across the parking lot was my silly example. The body will not burn fat when the glycogen stores are plentiful. It would go first. It's a lot less work to just grab it out of the glycogen stores than actually breaking down the stored fat. So after we've consumed the food and drink, plus the glycogen stores are depleted, then the body will do the work to break down, unfortunately, fat and protein simultaneously. So to secure our muscle mass with sufficient digestible protein, we do not want to lose our muscle mass as fuel to run the body, but we can pretty well force the body to burn toxin-laden fat. Now, when we burn fat, as a listener, you know that the body produces ketones. It's done in the liver. So this is a superior fuel than sugar to fuel the brain and the many body functions. when you are burning toxin-laden fat, it can help the body eliminate the sequestered toxins through the open bowels. So this is super important. You have to have open bowels. And when you burn 1 gram of fat, you get more than double the calories of energy, 9 calories of energy from burning a gram of fat compared to only 4 from burning a gram of carbohydrates or protein. So just to recap the sequence, burn the digested food for energy, then burn the glycogen stores, then ability to burn muscle and fat at the same time, or protein and fat. So we need to preserve the muscle mass. Very important topic, and we've done episodes on that. So let's talk about some lessons learned. Don't overdo too many carbohydrates, or they can definitely delay burning fat via the glycogen stores. I am not a fan of extreme no carb or almost no carb, and we did a recent episode on that. And I believe that was episode 70. Definitely check that one out. So I am not a believer in extremes. I have approach I call clean balanced keto that we did another episode on. So when you're fasting, if you cheat during your period of fasting, it might be better to use a protein, a highly digestible protein, or a good healthy fat rather than choosing a net carb. And use long enough fasting window to deplete the stored carbs if you're trying to lose weight that are in the diet and the glycogen stores so the body can get around to burning fat. But make sure you secure that muscle mass so it isn't broken down for a net loss. And keep enough activity and exercise to help deplete those glycogen stores and use those muscles. So I strongly encourage you, get and use a body composition scale so you can watch your body fat go down, your skeletal muscle percent go up, your visceral fat number. Even thin people can have high visceral fat clinging to vital organs, and your body age, we would like to watch it go lower rather than stay the same or go higher if you're doing a program. So you can get a body composition scale on Amazon for less than $30. Definitely you should do it. We did do a previous episode on that, but make sure you choose one that has visceral fat, skeletal muscle percent, body fat percent, body age. Very motivating. And I would check this if you're doing a rigorous program at a minimum every 2 weeks, but you might want to do it once a week. Make sure your numbers are going in the correct direction. Possible next steps. Direct questions to me, Julie, at jpwowprograms.com. Please refer others and check out our website that has the slides for every episode, our favorite Wow Natural products, a weekly blog article, and the new Wow Lifeboat Freedom video system for income from sharing the Wow Natural products. The website is www.jpwowprograms.com. Stay positive, focused, and determined, because where the mind goes, energy flows.